Detective Johnathan Fields had seen his fair share of gruesome crime scenes throughout his career, but nothing could have prepared him for the nightmare that awaited him one fateful night. It was a cold and rainy evening in the small, quiet town of Willowbrook. The streets were empty, and the only sounds were the distant rumble of thunder and the steady patter of rain against the windows of the police station. Johnathan was alone in his dimly lit office, going over some paperwork from his previous case when a call came in. "Detective Fields," the voice on the other end of the line crackled. "You're needed at 1122 Elm Street. There's been a disturbance reported." Johnathan sighed and grabbed his coat, wondering what kind of disturbance could occur on such a stormy night. Little did he know that this call would lead him into the heart of darkness. As he arrived at the address, the rain had turned into a torrential downpour. The house in question was an old Victorian mansion, its windows shattered and the front door ajar. He cautiously entered the eerie silence of the house, gun drawn. The first thing that struck him was the smell. A nauseating combination of decay and something else, something he couldn't quite place. The dim light from his flashlight revealed a gruesome sight in the living room. Blood was splattered across the walls, furniture overturned, and a trail of crimson led further into the house. Following the trail, Johnathan made his way to the basement door. It creaked open, revealing a set of narrow, rickety stairs leading down into darkness. He descended cautiously, his heart pounding. In the basement, he found a scene that would haunt his nightmares for the rest of his life. The walls were covered in strange symbols drawn in blood, and at the center of the room was a grotesque altar adorned with candles and an array of sinister-looking objects. On the floor, surrounded by candles, lay the mutilated body of a young woman. Johnathan's stomach turned as he surveyed the horrific scene. It was clear that this was no ordinary murder. Brutality and the ritualistic nature of the crime sent shivers down his spine. Just as he was about to call for backup, the basement door slammed shut behind him, plunging him into darkness. Panic set in as he fumbled for his flashlight, his breath quickening. When he finally managed to turn it on, he was greeted by a horrifying sight. In the flickering light, he saw a figure cloaked in shadows standing at the far end of the basement. Its eyes, glowing with an unnatural, malevolent light, seemed to pierce through him. Johnathan raised his gun, but before he could react, the figure vanished into thin air. The basement was now deathly silent, except for the sound of Jonathan's own frantic breathing. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, that something malevolent lingered in the darkness. He tried the basement door, but it wouldn't budge. Hours passed as Johnathan searched for another way out, but the house seemed to twist and turn, its layout shifting as if mocking his attempts to escape. His flashlight began to dim, its feeble beam revealing more of the blood-soaked symbols etched into the walls. As the flashlight finally died, Johnathan found himself in pitch-black darkness. He could hear whispers, faint at first, then growing louder, as if a multitude of sinister voices were closing in on him. He felt something icy cold brush against his neck, and he knew he was not alone. In the suffocating darkness, Johnathan's sanity began to unravel. He was trapped in a nightmare, a realm of terror where the laws of reality no longer applied. The voices grew louder, their chilling laughter echoing in his mind. Days turned into weeks, and Johnathan Fields was never seen again. The house on Elm Street stood abandoned, a place of unspeakable horror, a dark secret buried within its walls. The town of Willowbrook would forever remember that night as the night Detective Johnathan Fields vanished into the abyss, a victim of a malevolence beyond human comprehension.